Hello there, welcome to the Bardo podcast. My name is Marc Salmon. I am a comedian, practicing Buddhist, with very much an emphasis on practicing, and also spent many years working in adult social care. This is a podcast about philosophy, comedy, mindfulness, hopeful and radical alternative ways of thinking. And today's episode we are joined by the writer, performer and comedian Abby Wambaugh. We're going to be discussing Abby's sellout show, just come off a off-Broadway run in New York, sold out shows in Edinburgh, London. It's an amazing show. It's called The First 3 Minutes of 17 Shows. We're also going to be discussing vulnerability in comedy, honesty and how we be honest with and still take care of ourselves and others, performance, contemporary clowning, humour and social change, and how we can imagine perhaps a better world through comedy as well. This is a very funny and thoughtful conversation. I think you're going to very much enjoy it. I can't wait for you to hear it. One note as well before we start, we had a very candid conversation at the beginning about bodies, and Abby sent me an email saying that their son has given permission for us to talk about what we talk about, that he said it was fine and actually thought it was kind of cool. So that's all right. Okay, so let's sit back, relax, float downstream as we enter the Bardo. Are
we doing the podcast right now? I don't know.
There's no...
I'm like, which version am I going to tell you? I mean, I'm doing really good.
Yeah.
I had to take my kid. Well, yeah. If this is for the wait, is this for the podcast or not for the podcast? I had to take my kid to the doctor. I'll tell you what for,
yeah, okay.
But maybe I shouldn't tell everybody.
Right, okay, yeah.
But for you,
yeah, for me,
he has worms.
Oh, you don't want to broadcast that publicly.
I do personally. I want everyone to know, but I don't. He seemed a little bit embarrassed about it for the first time. Like it's like a really normal thing for kids to get in Denmark. I didn't know it. Like I taught young kids in America.
Yeah.
I had a young kid in America. Nobody was talking to me about worms. But in Denmark, this is the second time he's had it. And when he went to daycare, there was always like a sign on the door that was like, "Careful, we got kid worms." And they're called børneorm, like kid worms. And they're real worms that make your butt itchy.
Yeah.
Because of worms. Like your butt is itching, like, and the worst thing you could imagine making your butt itchy is the actual thing doing it. That's crazy.
Yeah. Did you not have worms when you was a child?
Oh, this is great. Did you? No, I didn't have worms.
No, but apparently so many people have worms.
Okay, well, I never had lice either, which now I have really a lot of experience with lice also. Yeah. But we didn't. And I was just talking to Jenny Shamash and Hannah Gadsby, and neither of them were like, they were both like, "What? Your kid has worms?" Like I was like a disgusting person. They were really they were more curious than like, they were just like dogs get worms? I was like, no, like kids get worms. But I also didn't know about it, so I thought, wow, people are gonna think I'm terrible. I'm giving my kid worms.
You're probably at risk of catching worms though, aren't you?
I have also to be medicated. We have to all take worm meds because so maybe probably honestly I have worms, but I do not have an itchy butthole and I have not noticed any worms, but I'm gonna be taking the medicine.
When you start dragging yourself along the floor,
then I'm gonna know.
Yeah, that's when you know. That's the diagnosis.
Yeah. But I'm desperate to tell the whole world, honestly. I wish I could tell everyone, but that is a tricky part about being a parent and having public conversations about my own life, is that my own life often involves my children's lives, and sometimes it's like a thing like they have butt worms.
Yeah. Do you know something? I was looking up monogamy in the animal kingdom.
Wow.
And
okay.
Just randomly, I was interested. And one of the most monogamous creatures on the planet are called Schizotosomi mansoni, and they are parasitical worms that live in the digestive tract.
Shut up. And they're monogamous?
Yeah, because one of the features of monogamy is geography. Like, if there's no other options, animals are more likely to be monogamous.
Right.
So,
and that makes sense
because it's just two of them hanging out in the digestive tract. They've got no one else. They've got no side pieces or anything.
No competition.
No competition.
And even if you're the last two people on Earth,
yeah,
and you get divorced, it doesn't matter. You're still married.
In the eyes of God.
Yeah, in the eyes of God.
Yeah.
You will remain married.
Yeah.
And that is my my marital advice to anybody who will ask me. Just make sure that you're the last two people on Earth.
Yeah. Make sure you eliminate every other human being.
Yeah, and then it doesn't actually matter. You can sign whatever papers they want.
Yeah. So I thought what we could talk about is obviously your show, and it's kind of I don't know if we can include any of that then, but it feels like a nice segue into...
It does feel like a nice segue. I don't know. I can ask him.
Yeah, maybe...
I can ask him. He's at school.
No.
I sent him to school after the doctor.
Let's go back to... Wait, but isn't he going to be at risk of spreading worms to the people at the school?
Well, no, I mean, he got it from the people at school.
Okay.
It's just that he had it, and he was like, my butt itches so bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, for days, I was like, okay. And then I tried to get to the doc, I tried to make an appointment. They didn't write me back immediately. They didn't write me back within 24 hours. So 24 hours later, when he was crying about his itchy butthole, and I already made him take a shower and put Vaseline on his asshole. Yeah. Which is the home remedies they said. He's literally crawling on the floor. He's literally dragging his butt on the floor.
Yeah.
Imagine that your asshole itches, and not only does it itch oh, what am I going to do about this? You scrubbed it. It's clean, itchy asshole. And you know that the reason that it itches is worms.
Yeah.
What? How do you live with that? It's so hard.
So what are worms? What happens with the medicine with the worms? Does it kill them? Or
yeah, it kills them.
So if you're a vegan or vegetarian,
yeah,
do you have to live with worms?
No, I feel like if you're a vegan, and I have been one,
yeah,
if I had worms, I would kill the worms. I don't think I wouldn't eat them again.
God. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I would rid myself of the worms that were eating me. I feel like self-defense.
Yeah, that is self-defense.
You can kill in self-defense if you're a vegan.
So, yeah.
Wouldn't make a jacket or shoes out of the worms.
No. Maybe a bag.
But not for me. For someone else.
For someone else. Here's my worm bag. You can see them, can't you? They kind of come out.
You can see them. I haven't seen them.
Have you not inspected? You've not got down there?
I did look, but I realized at the doctor they told me, this is really great stuff. I really wish we could use this. I wish we could use it so bad. But, I'll have to ask him for his express. Yeah. He's never going to give me his permission for this. He's really gotten to the age now where he knows that this should be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Very common. Everybody has it in the world. You got it, Mark. But wait, what was it? So wait, what was the question I was about to answer? That was going to be great. God damn, it was going to be a great answer too. Oh yeah, I have inspected, but at the doctor they told me inspect the poop, not the butthole. I have been inspecting the butthole. I've been bend over, spread your cheeks, let me look in there. I don't see any worms. Which I read on the internet. I think last time I was you can see and I don't see them there. And they were oh, you should be inspecting the actual poop, and you should be. But on some level I do inspect his poop, and I didn't see any worms. But that's what it is. If your butthole itches and you're why? If you have a clean butthole that itches at night it's worse at night.
Yeah.
It's worms. I want you to know. And I don't want you to take it easy on yourself. Be oh, it's probably my imagination. It's probably not worms. It is. It's worms. If your butthole itches at night, you have worms.
How am I going to edit this?
You can use that part.
But it sounds then that you're directing that to me as advice.
Mark?
We've just started with me telling you.
And what kind of person are you? Can you handle people thinking you have worms? I think it's just they should know about themselves and their own buttholes. If your butthole and I also want to say I don't have worms. I want to say that here on the podcast. We're talking about worms. I don't have them right now.
We're talking worms. I'm going to call this...
We're talking worms. Here on Bardo Podcast, we're talking worms. I actually do have something to say that is really like we're going to want to talk about on this podcast that is like we're going to have to like be like this relates directly to the worms. Okay. Like, so you have to leave some worm content in, but you know what to cut out. I'm so sorry, but whatever.
Yeah. One time... I don't know if this is too much information.
Never.
I had a problem once with behind.
Not enough information yet.
And
a problem with your behind?
Yeah, years ago. And I asked my girlfriend at the time, can you look at this? No, I think she said, I'll look at it for you. And I was like, no. And she went, let me look at it.
Yeah.
And then she looked at it. And then a couple of weeks later, she broke up with me. And wow. I think it was too much. And
you knew that when she asked. You were like, this is gonna do us in.
This is the end.
If you see my asshole.
There's no coming back.
There's no coming back from that.
I think what it was is I think we crossed over like a level of intimacy maybe from... There needs to be a bit of mystery, doesn't there?
You know, I don't know, like... My partner says that like that it's like I'm like Pavlov's. If he gets in the shower, I want to poop. Like we have one bathroom, and it's true.
Yeah.
I wish there were mystery, but there isn't. They're not from my side anyway. He won't. He like wouldn't. I mean, I've been around him pooping also and stuff, but he wouldn't like, he doesn't have this thing where like if I start the shower all of a sudden he has to poop. But I really have that. And I don't know what it means, but it does mean there's not we had 2 home births. We've kept the children, and that's all I'll say about that. But beforehand, before the second one, he had to give me an enema on the floor of our kitchen so that I wouldn't poop in the birth tub. And I mean, you know, he'd already seen me we'd already like traversed all of these, like we'd pooped in the same, you know, we'd done the thing, but that really did feel like a whole new thing. Like, okay, we're about to have our second baby together. It's time for me to lay on the kitchen floor while you give me an enema.
You know, there's this practice that's actually, there's something quite wholesome about that, isn't there?
Oh, great. I was hoping you would say beautiful, but wholesome
beautiful.
will work.
So beautiful about it.
Wholesome, like emphasis on the whole.
Yeah. But it's like that's fully accepting your partner, isn't it? Enema and all, you know. It's
I mean, I feel fully accepted by him, which I think I take for granted. But if I didn't have it, I mean, I think that would be a real struggle to feel like you had to hide your human form from your partner in any way. I think there has to be a point. I don't think you can reveal your full human form within at least the first 6 weeks. You shouldn't be showing the 6 weeks. Yes, keeps a mystery. Absolutely.
Keeps a mystery for 6
week
weeks.
7.
Enema. You come in. It's week 7.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna edit every bit of that out now.
Bummer. I'm perfectly happy for everyone to know about the enema situation.
I think it ended up being quite beautiful.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is. You know, you start out with.
How long have you been with your husband?
We met in like December of 2009. And we got accidentally married pretty shortly after that because of visa issues, and we got accidentally pregnant right after that. So we got married in 2011. Yeah.
And you moved straight to Denmark?
No, we lived in New York.
Oh.
And we lived in my mom's basement in Pennsylvania for a little while after we tried to move to Denmark and messed up the visa stuff. And then we lived in New York again, and then we lived in Denmark. But both of my kids were born in the living room, in Danish living rooms. and only one of them, and both of them I got an enema before, and only one of them you gave me.
Oh, right, okay.
So any further questions, I'm happy to answer.
Well, I think to set the tone of what maybe our discussion is like, that I was thinking about your show. I saw it a couple of times. I think I saw it when you was whipping it.
Yeah.
Work in progress. And then I saw it in Edinburgh. And many things struck me when I was thinking about it. But one of the things is that there's lots of moments of... there are moments of sincerity in it. There are these moments, even though it's funny and ridiculous, lots of it, there's these moments of like you being very open. So I feel like that's a continuation. Maybe your willingness to poop when your husband's showering. Are you doing that on stage?
Am I pooping?
Yeah,
in
but
the
do you know what I
shower?
mean? Like, do you feel very comfortable with these moments, or?
Well, like the poop in the shower, I don't want to poop when he's in the shower. Like,
Right.
I mean, I obviously do, but like
Do you have another bathroom, by the way? Are you
No.
choosing to go into the same?
we only have one
Okay,
bathroom.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think I think it's important. I feel like if I'm not trying to tell like the truth,
Yeah.
then it's like a waste. I don't see the point. So that is not how I feel when I have to poop when he's in the shower. And I'm like, if you take a shower and I don't poop in the bathroom while you're showering, then what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't have that feeling. But on stage, I do feel like when I do sets or when I do something where it's just like holding a microphone and being like, saying like a funny thought that I had in order to make a like room full of people laugh, that does not like do it for me in the same way as like trying to figure out like what I really think, what I really mean, and trying to like deliver like give that as close to the honest truth as I can in a way that moves people. That really like excites me about performance, and like just standing up there and like just to make people laugh. Not that I think just making people laugh is like nothing. It's just, and there are ways, like I do an impression of a vacuum cleaner in my show that I think is very fun. It is not like trying to get to any deeper truth or meaning. Like I have like there are some kinds of just making people laugh and silliness that I just like think I love to do. But for a whole hour, it did feel important to me to be like, you know, really looking at like why I would stand up there for an hour over 100 times.
Yeah.
And like, if it's just like, I don't know, it did feel important to me to like say something that I felt like, that I felt compelled to say. I feel like following the compulsion is a bit, if the compulsion seems good. If you got a bad compulsion, don't do it.
Do you think?
Although, well, I don't know. I have a compulsion to poop whenever my husband's in the shower, and I don't know what to do about that because it feels, you know, I'm compelled.
Yeah. When you're going through that process, right, of being like, I'm going to tell the truth, I'm going to try and get to something that excites me.
Yeah.
Is there, because I've been working out my show at the moment, and I did it the other day, and it was like 3 very emotional stories in a row.
Oh, wow.
And I felt everyone just sink. I'd asked too much of them.
Yeah.
I'd gone too far. I told too
Yeah.
much. And, you know, it is a comedy. It is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And it felt like everyone's trudging through it.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have these moments ever?
Well, I felt it the first time I did. So my show is called The First 3 Minutes of 17 Shows.
Yeah.
And so I start a different show every 3-ish minutes, and so there's like an opportunity for an energy reset, which is like was a nice thing that I like accidentally, but maybe also on purpose, built into my show. But that I think is a thing that you could use too. Like if you're gonna, like, there are ways to like reset the energy to get like the cadence back where you want it. But I did, like, the first time I read the essay of my show, there's an essay in it that is like the first 3 minutes of an essay show, but it's actually 10 minutes.
It's David Sedaris, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if I did a David Sedaris show. And that part is like the part where it's like there's a moving and serious story that also has some jokes in it, but it's like 10 minutes where we're pretty serious. And the first time I read that on stage, I was like, it was during the first work in progress. I knew I wanted to like tell that story, but I didn't like really realize how everything sort of fit into that story yet. And I read it and I felt like it was like around this time of year. It was like I did my first work in progress around my birthday, and I like billed it as my birthday party. So like it was like a full room, and I ran through the show, and then I got to this essay part and I started reading it, and the energy in the room shifted and it was like intense. And because I had written an intense thing, and I was like, I felt like I was driving down a one-way street, and I just like wanted to like hit it in reverse and be like beep beep beep. And I was just like, I was trying to read it in a funny way, like I was just like, oh my god, get me out of here. I was just like, this was a huge mistake. I just ruined what had until then been like a pretty fun comedy show, like with a fun like premise. And I was like, oh my, well, I was like reading it out loud. I'm like, I'm going to get through it this time, and I'm never going to do this again. And then, so I felt the heaviness, like, and then afterwards people came up to me and they were like, wow, it was really fun. And then I was just like, so like they were moved, and they were like, and obviously the best part was that essay. And I was like, are you kidding me? That essay that I'm never doing again. And so it was good for me to have that feedback, because I really was like, get me out. I was like, beam me up.
Yeah.
It like hurt so much to be being vulnerable like that the first time I did it.
What do you think made you take that risk in the first place to go for it? I
felt compelled. I felt like I knew I wanted to do this show about beginnings, and I knew I wanted to tell the story is about how I started doing stand-up comedy after I woke up in the hospital after a late miscarriage. And I did. I was on drugs. I woke up in the hospital, and I was like, I'm going to start doing stand-up comedy. And I knew that would be a part of my show, because it's like so a part of the beginning of my comedy thing. But I didn't realize until I was making the show that it was like gonna be that all of the beginnings and starting and stopping like all fit together with that. And then when I was talking to my partner, when I was talking to Yolm, same guy, shower and the poop in the bathroom, he was like, I really was like, while I was making it, I felt very like, oh my god, am I doing this? Like, oh, it feels so like, must I really make a miscarriage comedy show? Like, must I really, like, it feels like I don't want to be doing that. But I also felt so clear about it. Like, I felt like this idea had like grabbed my collar and was like dragging me down the road. It didn't feel like I was like, I felt like Julia Cameron says this thing where she's like, you can make ideas up or you can take them down. And it felt like I was like taking this down. I was like, and then this will go here, and then this will go here. Not always. Some of it was like invented and then like moved around and whatever. But a lot of it just like appeared in my mind the way that it should go. And so it felt like going against that would be like the choice. Honestly, it felt the same way when I got accidentally pregnant when I was 25, which is also in the story. But it felt like I didn't mean to do that, but also I felt like, to me, it felt like I wanted to have that baby, and that was like, and like that it, where I was in my life and in my relationship and in my like wanting for children, even though I hadn't planned this, it felt like a bigger thing for me to do, to like end it. And that's kind of how it felt also with this show. And Yoln said to me when I was like making these complaints, I was like, I don't want to do a like sad comedy show, I just want to be silly or whatever. He was like, and there's a pun in here, he was like, you can only give birth to the thing that is in you. And I was like, and that felt true. I was like, this is the show that like wants to be made. And I have repeated that a lot to myself, like while I was making it, because I was like, I didn't really think I would make a show like this. I didn't really think like that's what it was going to be about. But this is what it is. I don't know. This is the one that exists in me that wants to come out. I don't know. And I'm starting to think about my second show, and I don't want to like tell myself it has to be the same way, like I don't, but that's what happened with that show. Is like, it felt like if I had chosen not to make it like that, that would have been like, I don't know, like it was like banging down my door. But it hurt. It hurt to be like, to learn how to do that, and to like learn how to hold the room after that, and to like, and what I think I learned a lot, like a lot of the time I'd be like, I just wish they would knew this. Like I wish I could just tell them this. And then like mostly not in the essay part. In the essay part, I literally made a list of what I wanted them to know and wrote it exactly around that. And then the rest of the show, I just I tried to say as clearly as possible the things that I wanted them to know. If I ever had a thought like that, like I wish they could just, I just tried to say it as like clearly and plainly as possible, the things I wanted to know about like what I was worried about them thinking about the show, about like what, about like what, like anything. If I was like trying to like trick them into knowing something, I just tried to say it instead. And that helped with like the vulnerability and stuff, and like just acknowledging, I don't know. I have a part after the essay part where I have the audience, I read the audience's minds of all of the things I was worried that they were going to think about me doing that show, doing that, and I just got it all out of the way.
Does that keep growing as well, do you think? Or is that now does that change performance when you look at them and you're like, this guy's looking at my shoes too much, or
Well, it's pre-recorded, so no.
Okay.
It just like plays in the room. It changed because I used to have a part that said, what is this, a Hannah Gadsby thing? And then Hannah Gadsby came to my show and now presents my show. And so now that part changed because now Hannah Gadsby also has a recorded line in there where they say, yeah, what is this, a Hannah Gadsby thing? But that's like really the only part of that's changed. Yeah. My like real feelings about the show, of course, change every night that I do it, and like what I'm worried about. But I have learned, I think, to try to focus on what I like about this audience has helped me, like be like, to like stay present in the, like away from like the worries and like the things about the show. Is like I try to like each night I say hi when the audience comes in. Yeah. And then I like, while I'm talking to them, I try to, the same way I did when I was like a kindergarten teacher, I like try to find things I like about this audience specifically and like really try to like them like lovely. They are children. Yeah. Yeah.
I just did a clown workshop with Phil Berger's Dr. Brown.
Oh, nice. I did one of those. It was great and hard.
It was very hard, but it was really good. One thing he said was the audience had like children.
Oh, that's nice.
So he was like, you should never get angry at children. If it's not working, don't get angry at them. It's just like, they're like children.
That's nice. Yeah.
How did you find that workshop when you did it with him?
I found it exhausting and good. I'm like, I feel like really bad at clown is how I feel. I think there are like natural elements of the way that I perform that are clown-like, and like good, like good instincts that I have that are clowny. But when I go up literally to be a clown, I'm just like, oh my God, that's so hard.
Maybe that means you're good at clown though.
Well, the feedback I get from clown workshops, from clown teachers, is often like that everybody else is like told, like, try a different voice, try a different thing. And they're like, be yourself. And I'm like, I'm trying to do something else here. So I think there is something maybe naturally clowny about me, but I am bad at I'm bad. I have not figured out how to like purposefully, like, I don't know, but I like it a lot, and I also has helped me like figure out like instincts I have that are like good and unique, I would say, as a stand-up. I have gotten like rules from at clown that are like, oh, that's what I'm doing, that I didn't really know. But that one in particular, I had a really fun time. I really liked it. But I also did my show in Amsterdam, like one of the nights of that. And my show is like a lot of cues, and I like hadn't done it since the Edinburgh run. And then I like had a run. I don't know. I was also tired. And I remember the day after I did that, and then I did the clown workshop. I did my show and it went really well and it was really fun. And then I did the clown workshop the next day, and he was like, it was the last day of the clown workshop, and it was like, so I like forced myself to get up, and it was like really like felt like emotional, and I like, which is like a thing that happens at clown. I like cried on stage during which was kind of fun and interesting, but it was like, I don't know, it was I don't know. I like clown workshops, but I like them in the part of me that is very brave.
Yeah. But it feels like you're touching upon, you said be yourself, but you're touching upon that in your show as well, right? I'll get to that in a sec, but you just made me think of something. You know, you said the last day when you felt overwhelmed. I had a similar experience. We did 5 days, and people have been finding it quite hard. Maybe as a protective mechanism, I found the whole thing hilarious. Like when he would,
great.
You know, like he's like mean sometimes, and he'd be like, "See you later, next." So as part of the workshop, I found it very funny for some reason, because it was just so ridiculous that, you know, you were trying to do something and you might flop, and then, you know, but the last day I'd had enough. Just had enough. And I came out on stage, and because there's a lot of emotions that come up in the workshop. So for those who don't know, the clown workshop, there's different ways of doing it, but this particular style was that they would, weirdly, I actually read the night that before we did the workshop, I read this a book by Alan Moore, The Bumper Book of Magic. It's really great. And there was a story about the Greek goddess of heaven who goes down into the underworld, and before she goes into the underworld, she has to bow and remove all of her clothes and completely lose all of her ego to enter into the underworld, into the mystery. And it feels like sometimes that's what the clown workshop's doing. And it was just nice synchronicity. I read that right at the time, so I was like, this is almost like a Zen approach. They're going to like take us apart, and all of your strategies that you normally that might work in your stand-up or whatever, they're like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, and then you're fucked basically, and then you're forced to find something new. So the last day, a lot of emotions are coming up in this process, because, you know, they're being negative to you, you know, and me and my partner Zoe had been doing it as well, and we had a big argument in the morning. And then we go to the clown workshop, and I've had enough, I'm not in the mood. And then was on stage, and I was just like, I can't be bothered. I was trying to force myself to have fun and play. How can I find? And I just couldn't be bothered. And then I said, I'm not in the mood to do this. And it was kind of awkward. And then I said the truth, which I'd been hiding, was, listen, I had an argument with my girlfriend, and I went, but I shouldn't talk about that. And then they started laughing. Then I kept doing that, doing more information, and I found the permission to play, and it was by telling the truth in that moment. But I wasn't even aware of what the truth is. Sometimes we're not even aware of the thing that needs to be said, that compulsion that we're hiding.
Yeah.
So, sorry, that was a long tangent, but to bring it back to your show, it made me think, you know, you went out and you do the essay, and you, even though you do it in a form, that's really you coming through in those moments. You are telling the thing, you know, and from that, I think that's where you can play.
When what do you mean when I'm reading? Well, like when I'm reading it, I feel like I play a little bit with that essay, and I have, because people react different times. So it's very like, it feels very safe now to me, because I just read it, but it's very like vulnerable, quiet moment. And then there are jokes in it that people respond different ways to maybe not every night, but every city. And that is really like, that feels very like connected. Like I feel very connected because all I have to do for that is read. So I feel I'm like almost more available like to And it is interesting. And it is like, I wrote things that, like in that essay, yeah, I wrote it alone. And I'm reading it in front of people, but like I tried to be really honest in it. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting mix up of like mashup of like performative and like literal,
Yeah.
like things that I wrote in my journal all alone without thinking anyone would ever read them. But yeah.
I guess what I was trying to get at is when you took that risk, you know, and what my experience, I think what I learned from it was that I was thinking I have to be silly to play. I have to force myself to be silly now, but I'm not in the mood. No, what I needed to do was tell the truth, and then suddenly there's a relief, and then you can play. Is what I was getting at.
Well, yeah. Oh, well, when I did that workshop when I was crying, they were like, he was like, sing a song, and I sang the song I sing to my kids.
That's so mean while you're crying.
Yeah, and I sang the song that I sing to my kids at night while I was like crying, and it was so funny. Like, it was so funny, and I knew it was, but then also like I couldn't really tell like what, like, because I was just doing it, and sometimes it felt funny and everybody was like cracking up, and sometimes it was sad, and it was just like, the thing about clown that's so wild is like when we like it, it's when it's the truth, I feel like. And it's hard as the clown for me to not feel in control of when that is. Yeah. Because I also do think I like offer the truth a lot. I offer, like, in my performance and also like what I'm saying, I'm like I'm going for that. But there are like blocks for that for me that I like don't even like recognize, that I don't even know are there. And I feel like clown really like points at them, but then I don't even yet know what to do with a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, people are laughing and I'm not sure. Right? Like in stand up, I feel like I'm basically always in control of like, I know why they're laughing. I know when they're going to laugh. I know I made it that way. Yeah. And in clown, it feels like, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Which is exciting, but also like, yeah, I don't know how to get good at it without, well, I guess you try and try and try. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm going to, but I like it.
Do you like that sort of is there a sense of safety in the stand-up, do you think? I don't know if what you do stand-up.
Yeah, I would say like when we're talking about clown, I would say it's more like stand-up. When you're talking about stand-up, I would say it's not. Yeah. But it's like, I mean, I do alternative comedy. I do it anyway. I do it 17 different ways in my show. So I think, yeah, I don't know if it's stand-up. Some of it is stand-up, and some of it is clown, but kind of bad clown. But and some of it is like, I don't know, sketch, or like one is an essay, and one of it is like just talking. And yeah, I don't know. I think that the idea of just stand up doesn't really like interest me that much. I've seen, now I am a fan of stand up, and I can see like how incredible people can be at stand up as that's the thing. But I think I'm like drawn more to comedy as like that it can be anything, that it's like you're just responsible for what happens on a stage. And like comedy, the word comedy is like a promise about like where you'll land, but like anything can happen when you're in the sky. Yeah,
it feels like that when I was, you know, when I see your stuff. It's like I think I said to you, it's like sort of, it's got like an outsider, like folk art element to it. It's so folk art, you know. Ooh. It's so like, it's just you. It's just an expression of you in many forms, and it's very homemade, isn't it? You know, you come out in a banana costume. Are you still, if you've got the numbers and like all these
and a number 9 impression, a long impression,
you know, and you've got all these nice little. It's very homemade DIY feeling to it, and because it isn't really like, it's not. It can't really be put in a category because it is so many different things.
Yeah, that's nice. I think that I'm finding out that people like consider it like theatery kind of, and I'm like enjoying that
Yeah.
as a possibility. I'm also like, because I did it like this way where it's like there are blackouts and come up and like a new thing every time. I sort of like got to like learn about the benefits of like blackouts are really fun to play with. Like I just think like it's like a punchline. It's like a free punchline. Like blackout lights up on a different thing is going to be funny like almost no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Which like, you know, I came up with that, but I didn't know it was going to work like that. And then so when I was doing my work in progress shows, like I would do like there weren't really lights. I would like tell people like slow blink, or I would have one time I tried a flashlight for my light, and I had like someone in the audience hold it and like turn it off, turn it on. So like I kind of like knew the transitions were kind of funny, but I didn't really know. And then I got to Edinburgh and I did it for the first time with the blackouts, and it was like, or maybe it was like at one of the work in progresses where I actually had a tech doing lights out and lights up, and I was like, it made a big difference in like because that's the joke of the show, is that it's 17 shows, but it's just like for an audience to feel like if you feel it's exciting. It's exciting for the lights to go off and the lights to come up. It's fun.
We're quite simple, aren't we? We're like,
yeah, I think so.
I'd like to be able to incorporate that into my, just because I do just sort of stand up just after every punchline, just lights on, lights off.
I think it's fun. I'm working on Lara Ricote's show. I'm directing it for with her, and it's so fun.
I saw a whip of that, yeah.
She's incredible.
Yeah, she's the best.
And she's doing this right now where she's like, she says a thing and like, I think we are going to use blackouts, but right now she's just like blackout and blackout. And it's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah.
She's so funny, but yeah, it's like amazing. And it feels like, to me, like, I think too, because I wasn't really a fan of stand-up before I started doing it, and now I have really like learned to be one, but I think I was like, I didn't want to watch other people be funny without being involved. I was like, what? But there's a way that's like, because I didn't watch a lot, I didn't know, there is like, I like don't feel connected to like the way you're supposed to do it or something. So I just like do it like it's a school project, kind of like it's like a science fair project.
Yes.
And that's fun for me. And yeah, and people are like, whoa, but really I'm just dumber. I just like don't know the rules, so I can't follow them.
And people say this is great theatre. And
they're like, wow. They're like, what, this really smart idiot.
Yeah. So, you know, you said earlier it's a show about beginnings, right?
Yeah.
Because there are 17 different beginnings. Would you also say, entailed in that, is it also about endings? Is it only about beginnings? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's about like the point of like, what's the point of beginning? Is there like value in a beginning that doesn't have like an end, or that doesn't like go anywhere? And I think because of course it is like about my miscarriage and the way that like impacted my life and started me down this like comedy path, and like I posit that yes, that yeah, like beginning something with energy and enthusiasm, no matter what is supposed to happen. I think like it's like that idea has really, it's really paid off for me, and it really inspires me. And it's still like, now I feel very much like whenever I remember what my show is about, which I'm still doing this show, and I'm starting to do a new show, and I'm scared of it. I'm scared of starting a new thing, and I don't know what it's like, and what if I waste my energy? I'm like, the literal thing that my first show like preaches on is like still hard for me.
Yeah.
So like it's nice though too to be like, oh yeah, I made a whole show about this exact thing, and I still can learn it and think about it. And yeah, so it kind of like both moves me that I made a show about that, and it's like, and also feels like how funny to have literally performed the show 100 times and not but I still have to learn it. I still have to like the theme behind the show still surprises me. I'm like, wow, yeah, actually.
Isn't that the case with things though? They're the most simple things.
It is the case with things.
Yeah.
It's the case with
most simple things, like thinking about beginnings then and knowing that everything changes and always passes. So everyone, we know that, it's obvious, but I have to remind myself of that all the time because I'm so upset when, you know, something's gone. Like, why is all that chocolate cake gone? Or it's mostly around food, to be honest.
Yeah, it's mostly around chocolate cake.
Yeah, it's mostly around chocolate cake. But, you know, it's just interesting that you spent, you know, how many years have you been doing this show now? A couple of years, right?
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost. In August, it'll be 2 years.
And it still hasn't sunk in.
No.
Maybe it never does. Maybe that's the point.
Yeah. I mean, right. And in another way, I am really great at that. Like, I am good at knowing that. But, like, only when it's easy or when it's necessary. Like, right. Like, it wasn't easy with my miscarriage, but it was, like, inevitable. You know, and like, so the reflection upon it felt like really clear, and the connections while I built the show, like, I was like, oh my God. That's how I felt also, like, finding out that's what the show is. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's all about that. It didn't, I wasn't like, I felt like, I'm going to make a show and it's going to be the beginnings of 17 shows, and wow, how fun. That's how I felt. And then I was like, and one of the shows,
sorry to butt in, where did that initially come from, the initial impulse?
I was in Edinburgh and I was watching a bunch of shows, and I felt very like excited and inspired by all these shows, and I kept telling my friends that I was going to do this show. I had a different idea every time I walked out of one. I was like, really? And then I had this one idea I kept repeating to everyone. I was like, okay, but I'm going to do this. This is a real one, guys. I'm going to do this one. And I'm gonna do like a basketball show, and like there's like, and I'm gonna be like playing. It's got 1-on-1, and like, but there's no real ball and there's no real net, and I'm gonna play the game with somebody on the stage, but there's no net. So like when you score, cause like then nothing happens cause it's in mime, and then I'd be like, and that's a story about, and then I would like just go on and on and on, and then like make up a different thing every time that story is about. And then one time I was like, and that's about miscarriage, and I was like, oh my God, it is about miscarriage, that's so funny. And I was like, that's like what my other, I don't know. And then but like I kept doing that, and then I kept having ideas for other shows, and then I was like, what if I just did the beginnings of all of these shows? And that one was like, that'll be funny because that'll connect to that show. But then they all did. They like really like kind of all flopped in. But at first it was just like, I had an idea to do like one like that was like a church service, and I had an idea to do one that was like I don't know. So it was just to get to do all my ideas. Was the original thought.
And then so when you had this moment and you decided, you know, you'd had this difficult thing that happened, then you're like, right, I'm going to go into comedy. Was that a complete left-hand turn? Had you been doing it before when you was younger? Or
I had when I was younger, I did improv. I did improv in high school, and I was like really into it. And then I went to school for acting, and I didn't like that.
Right.
And,
what
to
was it?
university.
What was it you didn't?
I didn't like being in a school with like, it was in the Upper East Side. I went to like a school called Marymount Manhattan College, and it was like I lived in like a 20-story building with 5 roommates in each room, and everybody was like studying acting or musical theater or dance, and it was like But just really, I was like, oh, I gotta just write a book quietly. But I was one of them. Like I was also, you know, but it was just like people tap dancing in every hallway and like perform, like everyone was performing all the time.
Yeah.
Which is obvious that I would have fit right in,
Yeah.
but it was also too much for me. And then so I did it for a long time, and then I moved to Denmark. I was lonely. I had a little baby, Sophus, my youngest kid, who's now he's 7, and
got worms.
he's
No, we no.
no, we can't. No, yes, he does, and he was like still breastfeeding, and I was just like alone, and there was like a musical improv audition around the corner from my house, really around the corner from my house, and I was like, I'm gonna go to that to make friends because it was on my street. And so I started doing musical improv, and then it was COVID, and they like started saying like I should do stand up, and I was not interested. I was like not interested. Then I got pregnant, and then I had this miscarriage, and I was like woke up in the hospital. I was like, now I'm gonna do stand up. I have all this time. I was just in my head. I was like, the next 2 years are going to be devoted to like a little baby. And then after that, when that baby is like 3 and I have like my 3 kids and they're like, I'm going to like recommit myself to an artistic practice. That's what I thought. And then I'm going to write my book or like whatever, do something. And, that's when I'll figure that out, because I know I'm not really going to be able to figure that out, and I don't want to beat myself up for that when I have this little baby. And then when I like had the miscarriage, like something in my brain when it was on drugs was like bring, like reorganized itself and was like, now there's no baby, there's no excuse, you have to do it now. And because it was COVID and I had little kids at home, I kind of like knew writing a book it was like stand up was like this artistic pursuit that felt doable, that you could go up and you could do like 5 minutes and then you could decide if you were done with that 5 minutes or not. And I felt like writing a book or like something like alone in my house, like while my kids were not in school because of COVID, like wasn't going to happen. So I started doing that, and so it was like a 180 from my life. It felt embarrassing. I didn't want anybody to know I was doing stand-up. I kept it a secret. But I was still, like, the first time I did it, I was still, like, wearing a pad because I was bleeding from my miscarriage. Right. Like, it was I was really just, during that time, like, being with my kids, being sad and looking out the window, and also, like, writing emails to the people who ran open mics and being like, can I get on this? And I don't know. I wouldn't say like, you know what the perfect way to grieve is?
Throw yourself into stand up.
Yeah.
Be judged by strangers.
A really public hobby where you talk and like try to convince people they're safe. But I just felt like when the drugs wore off and stuff, it just stuck with me it just stuck. I was just like, that's what I'm going to do. So I did secretly.
Yeah. Do you still feel embarrassed now by it?
It helped that it's going well. It feels less embarrassing. Yeah. But sometimes I do, especially because like people, like if they'll be like, oh, I'm going to like they're going to look you up, you know, they're going to like watch. And actually I haven't like tried at all to like control what people will see when they look me up. And it's like clips from, I don't put clips up really, and I did like 4 years ago once, and I don't know. So I feel like, a little embarrassed, but that's been kind of good for me to be like, this is a place I don't have control, and they'll look at me and they'll think whatever they want to think, and I would love it if they came to my show. I feel like my show is like, that's what I'm like. So if they come and they sit for an hour, I feel like they can have a really clear judgment of what they think of me.
Yeah.
But I feel like whatever they're going to see online, I don't know.
You said 2 things. So you said earlier that you like stand-up because you can control it, but then you also just said that you don't have control as well.
I feel like I have a lot of control in the room.
Okay.
I feel like I have a lot of control for the audience in front of me. I feel like I can't control the internet and like that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I do feel like I have a lot of control. Obviously not all of the control. I've had like terrible gigs where like someone's like on drugs in the front row and like,
Sorry about
like,
that.
thank you,
Yeah.
Mark.
This time I apologize.
I've been waiting for you to.
Yeah.
But yeah. Can you tell us about the show that you're working on? I would love to hear about that.
No.
Okay.
No, I can.
And good.
I can. Yeah, I'm just working on a thing, and it's like, it's interesting that you said it reveals itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because originally I was like, it was all these different things. I've been doing more stuff online about things I'm passionate about. So it became, okay, this is a show about ways I want to make the world better. And then I realized, actually, why do I want to make the world better? And so actually it's about forgiveness and like something I did wrong, something people have done wrong to me, and how I, forgive myself and be accountable, and also how I forgive. So I'm figuring it out. And at the moment I'm going through this process where, I had that moment, like you said, on stage where I spoke about something quite difficult, and afterwards people came up to me immediately afterwards, and I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. Like I've actually revealed way too much. I've been too vulnerable in that space. And then people sent me emails afterwards saying that was really great. So I think it's good, but I think it's finding a balance so you can protect yourself as well.
Protect yourself from...
you can... Well, I think something in the clown workshop is that you give everything. You be totally open.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also you can give too much in terms of... if you're not processed it maybe, or it's too raw, or it's too real, you feel exposed, and you feel... I felt extremely anxious after that. Like, oh, what have I done? I've gone too far. But that's the process.
And have you done it since then?
I've done the show in lots of ways, but I've not said any of that stuff ever again. I will do, but I can't bring myself to go through that. Yeah. Because it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, do you feel like before you said it, did you feel like you had processed it, or does it still feel like that are you emotional after doing it because people heard you say this thing and you don't know how to respond, or are you emotional because it's bringing up the feelings for you, or have you dealt with those?
Both. I'm in it. I'm going through stuff. We're always in something, aren't we? And then second thing was about a couple of years ago. This wasn't as difficult to share, but I was talking about I got mugged and beat up at knife point, and I just had this moment where I was telling the story, and I suddenly was like, oh, and I realized I had a real memory of it, and I suddenly felt like, oh, I think I'm actually a little bit traumatized by that in some way.
Oh yeah.
And I had this moment on stage where I just was like froze. And then people afterwards said that was very affecting. So if I can fake that being traumatized, no, but now I've since gone on and told that story and now it's just got the silly bits in it. But yeah, that was weird to suddenly have a memory, a flashback like that. I don't know if it happened with you, and you was saying this stuff when you're vulnerable and open about difficult things or traumatizing things. How do you rest in that? How do you get the balance right?
Well, I think it was really important for me that I felt recovered from the incident. I felt like I had cried about it a lot. I was not doing stand up about my miscarriage while I was going through the miscarriage. And this was 5 years ago. So I feel okay, I still feel moved when I read the essay, especially when I think about the parts it depends who's in the audience. I had family that I'm very close to from my childhood who lost a adult child, and they were in the audience while I was reading the essay about what grief felt like for me then. And I just knew that they were the way that they were listening to it, and I felt very moved during that. I feel very moved every time I read about the way that the medical professionals shifted their behavior to me in a nice way. They became gentle when they like saw that I was upset when I was having like the abortion procedure in the hospital, and I feel moved by that every night. So I feel still moved, and like sometimes I'll like tear up while I'm reading still, but I don't feel like I'm not still like processing the like that incident. Sometimes in my real life something will hit me from, I've had 3 miscarriages, and like one of them, not the one in the story, but one of them, like I lost like way too much blood, and something from that the other day like hit me, even though that was like 10 years ago almost, but like something from that the other day like was like, whoa, like I kind of had that kind of moment. So, but like the stuff I'm talking about on stage, I do make sure that I'm not gonna be surprised by a feeling like that. But the first time that was confusing because I was also so open, and like it felt like a mistake to like be that vulnerable.
That's
even
how I felt,
so it's hard to kind of to figure out, I think, like whether you're, because I think it is like you want to be healed from it also, because you're gonna remember the parts of this story that you're retelling. I think that that's kind of like an interesting thing, is like, now I've talked about this so much, and I've said this like essay on stage, which is like, the essay is like the truth that I really tried to make the truth. Like I really tried to say but it's the truth from then, you know what I mean? Like from when I wrote it. And it's really repeated into me. Like I've read it and said it so many times that it's like, now I kind of have some memories about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think there is like, it changes the way that I engage with this memory. And what is available to me, because some parts of it now I've repeated so many times.
Yeah.
So I do think it's like worth thinking about that when you're writing a show, when you're like cementing it. Like, I think that is like, what do you want to be saying? Are you going to be okay with saying 100 times?
Yeah. Do you have any sort of duty of care towards the audience? Like, because, you know, it's good to heal and to use art and the creative process to do that, and obviously what we do is public too, so there has to be an audience element. But like I was saying, I did a show last week, and I think I put too much on them. I did too many. I was asking you're asking a lot sometimes to people. Yeah, it's like, I want you to enter this space with me, and it might be difficult.
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean, I think a lot about the audience, and I think for me, for like Miscarriage, I think like there's both like, people should be able to talk about that a lot more than they currently are, but also I did not want anybody like blindsided by this who had just been through it, or like, I didn't want anybody to walk into my show not knowing that that's what happens. I feel like I'm landing on the side of hope. I'm very like, I'm kindergarten teaching the audience, like I'm not worried about the way that I'm doing it, but I am very much like, I put it as the first line of the summary of the thing, is like, I woke up in the hospital after a miscarriage, because I don't want like, although I think I handle it very sensitively, and many people have come up to me afterwards, like, who have had similar experiences, and they like the show a lot, and they've gotten, they were moved by it in good ways. But I just felt really aware that I didn't want anyone accidental, like, being surprised by that.
Yeah.
So that was like my main concern. I think that everyone who hasn't gone through that, and who has and knows that that's coming, is going to feel cared for in my show, because it's like the way that my show is. But I just wanted them to have a choice.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But like, truly only people who have only people who have experienced something painful like this. I think, not that I think other people shouldn't have a choice. I just think like, I talk about it with like carefulness and playfulness and gentleness and like compassion. So I think like, you can handle it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really like it when they put trigger warnings on the door about like it, because I'm like, I told you what the show is about, and I don't know. So I feel like it's kind of a normal thing that happens, and to be like, I don't know. I got feelings about that. I think I'm really nice, basically, Mark.
Yeah.
I think I'm really nice and people could trust me.
Yeah. Hello, just a quick pause to say if you're enjoying the Bardo podcast and you'd like to support us financially, you can do so at patreon.com/the Bardo podcast. Also a link in the show notes. The podcast will always be independent, ad-free and available to everyone. But if you are able to support even a small amount in pounds or whatever your local currency is, it genuinely helps with the time, care and basic costs that go into making these. I'm also a working class artist, so that support really does make a difference in being able to make these conversations and afford to keep doing it. Over on Patreon, I'm also going to be starting a fortnightly online meditation session soon. Just a simple space to sit together, no experience required, no pressure, just a chance to pause and practice together. You will be able to join either as a paid supporter or as a free member as well, if money's tight right now. I'll be sharing all details about that on Patreon and probably on my Instagram as well, at Marc Salmon Comedy. So, thank you very much. Let's get back to the conversation. I've just, this is a complete change of subject, but I'm just noticed now, I think it's maybe because, is my head a lot bigger than yours, or are we just sat?
I've been telling people that about your head. I think I'm really like leaning back on
I'm like
one chair in my corner.
I'm backed into a corner.
I think you have a normal sized head.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.
I think mine might be a little small. My
Really?
brain, probably huge, but
it's all brain in that skull.
I think I'm really tall. I'm 6 foot tall, and people are often really surprised when I stand up because I think I've got like a normal sized head.
Right.
You know,
and then your body is really long.
Yeah, it should be bigger. So maybe it's not you, it's me.
Yeah. Something I talk a lot about on this podcast is mystery, staying with the mystery, not having answers, but learning to be more comfortable in that space. And do you think, how does that resonate with you? How are you at sort of sitting with not having answers? Because your show's about beginnings. Endings often, there seems to be some like correlation with answers in endings, right? Can there be an answer in a beginning?
Yeah, I think so. Ah. Or like maybe you find out later, but I don't know. I don't know about answers. I've been the last month I've been going to Quaker meetings.
Oh yeah.
You know about Quakers?
Yeah.
And I have whenever I'm feeling out of control, I reread books on Buddhism.
Yes.
And they're like, by Pema Chodron is mostly who I read books by. And I realized this time, because I've been reading this like 75-page book. It's so short, but it took me so long to read because I kept like opening it to where I thought I was and then reading like 4 pages and getting to the next chapter and realizing I'd read that same 4 pages like 18 times.
Yeah, this is the practice. Sort of saying you have to go over and over and over.
Yeah, and it's like and then I went to this place for lunch and they had steamed egg, which is like creme brulee without sugar. Right. It's just like the yellow part, like it's just like all the same texture, and you go in with your spoon and it's just like there's a cut and it's all the same, and I'm like, that's what it feels like to read a book on Buddhism. It's just like there's a nutrient in here, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting something from this, but what? And it's all the same, and I do like it, but but I went to so I keep going to these Quaker meetings, as in keep going every meeting for the last 4 weeks, which was 2 meetings. So the last one I went to, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, you like meditate. And what I do when I'm meditating there is I don't really know the Quaker way to do it, but I just like have reread all of these Buddhists. So I just kind of try to do what Pema Chodron says, like focus on your breath or whatever. Just
start chanting loudly.
Yeah. And they're like, you're doing it wrong place. But I had this experience where yesterday I went, and I sat there and I picked the seat that I didn't want because I thought it was the only open seat, and it was by the wall. And I was like, am I going to be able to stop thinking about how this is like right in front of the wall? And I don't know. And then finally like settled with it. And I was just like, okay, I don't really know how to do this, but I'm going to like, whatever, just like live. I'm going to live in this mystery. I'm going to just like be here for this amount of time and whatever. And I was like, I know that I'm scared of doing that because of all of like the thoughts that I'm going to have. Anyway, I finally get myself quiet enough to sit there. And then in the wall right behind my head where I didn't want to sit, there's just like giant animal sounds. Oh. Like real live, like right behind my head in the wall. Like, you know, they're right there. And it's it's crazy sound to hear like animals in the wall. Probably rats in the walls right behind my head. And so I'm like sitting there. I finally got my like self to calm down. And then I'm like, there's rats in the wall behind my head. I'm like so uncomfortable. I'm like, get me out of here. The other Quakers opening their eyes, looking over at me like I'm the rats in the wall. They're like literally like what's going on over there? And I'm like, not me, it's rats in the wall. Just like, and I just like, we kind of like go, and I close my eyes. These rats right in the wall behind my head. I can't even stand it. I'm so scared, and I'm like, beam me up. I like kind of relaxed into it. I'm like, oh my God, the rats in the wall it's like exactly what I'm afraid of when I think about like meditation or like being alone myself. Like my little thoughts are like rats in the wall. I'm like terrified about this. This is the exact feeling I have about like being alone with my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, it could not be rats in the wall. I was like, it could be a cat in the next room. What if it's a cat in the next room? And I'm like, okay, that feels better. It feels better. And then I feel so sad that I'm nice about a cat being trapped by people in the next room, but I'm mean about the rats in the wall. Like, these are just like creatures that are having to like, and they're like lulled into this false sense of security that because we're quiet, we're just like Quakers in a room tricking them into like thinking they can be loud in the wall. I'm just like feeling so moved to tears for these fucking rats in the wall behind my head, like trapped in the wall, rats in the wall. And I'm just like, I can't even believe it. And then I'm like, why would I have more compassion for this poor cat trapped in the next room? Yeah. And I'm just like, and I'm thinking about like how the rats in the wall are like my thoughts, and the cat in the next room is like a different kind of thought that I'm like allowed to have. Like, it's like a civilized thought. And this like way that I'm like annoyed by all these like Quakers looking at me and like rustling their pants is like another kind of thought. And I'm like, or there's like the sky. And I don't know. I was just like really like, you sit with your thoughts for like even just like a half. You're there gonna be rats in the wall. I don't know. Yeah. I feel very inspired and moved by this experience that was yesterday, and it feels like every time I've done this lately, like tried to sit with my thoughts, that like, and I sit down really being like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find the mystery or like understand anything about the mystery. Like, there is just like a like ridiculous metaphor that like drops right into me that I don't know. Anyway, this is one way I'm engaging with it. I'm trying to sit in a room quietly. It helps me if there are other people also in the room, because then I really do it.
Yeah. What are you doing otherwise?
I fall asleep.
Oh, okay.
I like try to listen to a meditation, or I try to meditate.
Maybe
and
you
then
just
I fall
need
asleep.
to sleep though. That's also okay.
Yeah.
I think.
I think so, but then you don't get any of these rats in the wall thing.
Well, it's very beautiful. Thanks for sharing. it really is, and it's interesting that you said it gave you an insight into the different flavors of thoughts, like the conventional. This is a safe, allowed thought. The cat. Yeah. This is the disturbing parts that we don't want to be with. We don't want to.
Yeah. And it also felt like too, like the experience of accidentally feeling compassion for these rats in the wall did make me think like, what if I felt like that about what I think?
Yeah.
Like, and that is also like what I sort of is kind of coming up for me. Like, I'm really trying to engage with the possibility that it doesn't help to be mean to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and that like, that this, like, that even being nice to my thoughts that are like the rats in the wall, like, will actually help me. Like, and I needed to like get to that by somebody saying something like, your kids don't treat themselves the way you treat them. They treat themselves, they talk to themselves the way that you talk to yourself. And I was like, no, because I talk to them so nice.
Yeah. And then
and not me. But I don't know. It helped thinking about that way.
Yeah, I think it's a really clear illustration of that. And also, not just befriending like those parts, but also I feel like you've articulated how we tell stories and we have different perceptions of events.
Yeah.
And that the majority of our experiences are not anything to do with what's really going on.
Right.
Been trying to work with a thing recently just to myself that, you know, you don't know the truth, because it's, you know, how throughout the day, how many times am I wrong? It's incredible. And I'm so anxious about different things, and it's always a story. Or I got an argument with Zoe, and it was like, I was so convinced. I was like, yeah, well, I'm being compassionate, I'm right. And then she said this whole thing I hadn't even considered. It hadn't even entered my reality. And I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's another perspective here. And like, so do you know the parable of the empty rowboat? Have you come across this?
No. Please tell me it.
So it's a Zen story, and there's someone, they're out on a foggy lake, and they're on a rowboat, and another rowboat smashes into them. And they're furious. They're like, you absolute jerk, why don't you watch where you're going? And then the fog clears a little bit, and they see that there's no one on the rowboat. There's an empty rowboat. And they still had a collision, but the anger, the story that they told around the collision has changed suddenly, and they're released from it, and the anger goes.
Right.
And it's always an empty rowboat, they say.
Oh, yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah. It's always just different causes and conditions coming together, and we ascribe these different labels and stories and things like that to it.
Yeah.
There's even this guy, Donald, is it? I think it's Donald Hoffman. Yeah, he's a cognitive scientist, and he says that we've evolved to not see reality in any way like it is. It's almost like he describes like an icon on a desktop computer is just there as an ease, so we can understand. But what's really under that is a load of code and difficult, complex things. That's how we're seeing reality. We're not. It's complete conceptual overlay. We have no idea what's going on in some sense.
What is the thing that you've been telling yourself? I really like that too. It's like, I have no idea what the truth is. Is that what's the word?
Well, an easy way of putting it is my favourite writer, Robert Anton Wilson, used to wake up every morning and say to himself, what if I'm just a cosmic schmuck? So I might not know anything. And then
might not know anything.
Yeah, and then he'd say, because if you start to believe your own belief system or BS too much, he said you get a head full of self-hypnotic ideational trance, or SHIT. So it's good to remember, this is just my perception, this is just my story.
Yeah.
And like the rats in the wall, it sounds like you literally had that experience where you were like, oh, it could be a rat, it could be a cat, it could be this. And then you were moved to tears. Almost
definitely rats in the wall, though.
Yeah.
Almost definitely.
Did the Quakers, were they angry at you?
No, they weren't angry at me. The Quakers, they never get angry. It's against their beliefs.
Yeah.
This is the second time I've gone, and both times I've had this happen. Like, where the last time it was like, well, also I feel like I felt very like full of my own SHIT lately. I feel very much like people are like asking me. I just feel like like people are asking me questions about myself because they want to know, but it ends up with me repeating a lot of the same things, and like I'm just like, oh, I just hate to hear myself right now. Like I hate, even though I'm really I am still continuing to try to say what I believe and like try to say it like openly and honestly or whatever, but I'm just like, I am tired of hearing myself talk, and I think that is what has moved me to like really find a Quaker meeting around me and like these things. But then the last time I went also, I had this experience where I like had just this like fully formed metaphor that is very much me. So in a Quaker meeting, you're supposed to be like listening for God, basically. And God is supposed to like be able to talk to you. And my experience is that almost like, that almost any time you're listening for it, that can happen. And that I am talking instead of listening a lot.
Yeah.
But then I was sitting there the first time and I was like, it felt like this fully formed metaphor dropped into my head. Now I've been repeating it. It feels like my shit now. But like when it dropped in my head, I was just like, oh, finally something from God for once. And it was like about problems. It was like, we were doing a guided meditation in that one. It's called Experiment with Light. It's like a guided Quaker meditation. And there's ones for individual problems and there's one for world problems. We're doing the world problems in 2-week one.
Yeah.
But this was the individual problems. He's doing it in Danish and I'm like okay at Danish, but like I understood what I wanted to understand basically. And it was like, you have to think of a problem. This is my first Quaker meeting. He's like, the first thing he says is like, you have to close your eyes and think of a problem. I'm like, I'm going to be great at being a Quaker. Like, I'm going to be amazing at this. And then whatever, eventually this like fully formed image. First I was like, how do I be a better parent? And then the answer is like, you beam at your children more. And honestly I felt annoyed by that. I was like, great. Yeah, obviously I beam at my children more. Shut up. That's hard. And fuck off is how I felt to God or whomever or my head or whatever. And then I was like, I had this image that was like, your heart is a bag of pistachios. I was like, yes. I was like, here we go. And it was like this idea that, that like every problem you have, like every like conflict is like a pistachio that you pull out of a bag. And then like some of them easy to open. And like you just like open them and you're like, great, what an easy one. And then sometimes it's hard and they kind of hurt your fingers, but you got them. And sometimes so hard you have to get a tool or you have to get you have to ask someone to help you open the pistachio, or you give up on the pistachio and you can throw it. Or you can put it back in the bag. And I was like, okay, every problem, you deal with the problem in front of you. It's like a pistachio. Got it. This is great. But what happens? Then you get to the bottom of the bag. Then what? You're enlightened? Like then you're a Buddha? Or then you go to heaven? What happens when you get to the bottom of the bag? And the answer comes like, nope, nothing happens. And I was like, okay, well then what happens to the pistachio? Then like the pistachios left in the bag, all the hard ones you left in there, all the ones you leave in there are just other people have to deal with them. And I was like, oh my God, that feels like it's the truth. That feels like they're just like, you can deal with the things that come up in front of you in your life. And then whatever is left for your kids or your family or for like everyone else karmically in the world. Yeah. And you can just deal with what you can deal with. Like, it's not really any judgment on any singular pistachio, but it's like whether you're willing to like try to whatever. But I am just kind of like, I guess I got to keep doing this. I guess I got to trying to like deal with the thing in front of me. And right now I do feel like wrapped up in my own shit for I opened this one pistachio and I just keep talking about that one. I'm like, I made a cool show. Just hold on to that. It was hard. It was hard work to feed. And I had a miscarriage. That was a hard thing. Yeah. I had to open my heart to all of these things. But like, I feel a bit like that lately. Like, I'm just kind of parading this one opened pistachio around and being like, instead of moving on, shall we talk about this one?
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure as well to be like, in society, I think like what's next. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know about you, but my day runs like that. I'm often like running towards what am I doing now, and and maybe it's okay to be with that one pistachio for a bit.
Yeah, okay, but I think probably it should stop now.
It's gone rotten now.
Probably is like just a worm filled. Because also that's another thing about pistachios. Sometimes you work so hard to open it and it's like worms inside. Yeah. Speaking of worms.
That's true.
Yeah. Happens. It happens. What do you think? Do you think that God gave me that metaphor about pistachios? Or do you think... I mean, it also feels like really like me. but it just appeared fully formed. What do you think? And do you think it's a good metaphor? Do you think it's the truth?
I think your next show should be revealed by God.
Please.
You should.
Please, God.
You should bill it as like, this is actually revealed by God. All of this.
Do you know what I think is a draw for the Quakerism thing to me though? It's like I like Buddhism, but I would love to think I'm getting some direct instruction. Like I would love to think just like, yeah, okay, you sit there, but then sometimes God might talk to you. Like, you know, in Buddhism, you got to do all the work.
Well, in a way, but it's your wisdom voice, isn't it, coming through? It's your,
sure.
I think it might be God. I don't know. I interpret it as your wisdom, your natural wisdom. That's your Buddha nature. That's your potential. That's what's already there, and you're just quietening down for it to come out, and then you can catch it.
Catch it.
Yeah, or maybe not catch
it.
I've
been catching it lately.
With it a bit, you know. You've been catching it.
I think I'm trying. I like it. Also feels like, I don't know. I've never gone. My roommate in New York would go, like, he was a Buddhist and he would go to Buddhist like classes, and Yolan would go with him sometimes and like sit and meditate in a group. I've never done that with Buddhists before.
Yeah.
Do you go?
Yeah. And
what do you find? Maybe I would like that. Maybe I like the being around other people and doing a thing.
Yeah.
What is it like?
It's good. It's nice. You know, sometimes you have noisy people. You have people, you know, when I first started meditating, it was about 6 years ago, and it was actually longer ago than that, but I mean regularly doing it was 6 years ago, and I used to think that I had to get somewhere, or I had to like quieten my mind, or I had to do something. I was always meditating to do something. So I was subtly...
What's next?
Yeah, what's next? But trying to achieve something from it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm doing this to calm my mind, or I'd tell myself some story around it. So I would get annoyed if, even though, you know, part of it you say to yourself, yes, I'll be accepting, but no, I would be annoyed if someone was like swallowing too loud or something. Because you're like, oh.
So when you were asking if they were mad at me in the Quaker meeting, you were thinking, because you would have been mad at me?
No, now
you would have thought I was making the rats in the wall sound?
Yeah. Now I just don't expect anything, and then I don't know, after a while, like, just you get a taste for it, and then it all becomes part of it. Whatever's happening becomes part of it. So you can sit on the bus, or you can be wherever, but I'd say meditating in a group is really nice. Yeah, there's something, I don't know if it's psychosomatic, but sometimes if you meditate with, especially if you're around like people that, so one of my teachers is a Lama called Rinpoche Rinpoche, and he's very simple, humble man, and he's very relaxed. So it's not all about like complicated teachings. He the way he is, I think, is the teaching. He's just super relaxed and calm and kind. And when you're around him, I don't know, you feel like that. So your meditation around people like that sometimes feels maybe a bit deeper. Maybe you're taking on their body language, or I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's useful.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
What about when you did it like yesterday? Because Zoe's gone. By the way, you've told us about 2 fights you had with Zoe, and that she's gone for 3 weeks, and you're thrilled.
No, I miss her.
You should probably say something nice.
I miss her a lot.
About now.
Yeah, I miss her a lot. Yeah.
Okay, good. But what was it like? Like what when you were meditating, like in and out of meditation yesterday? Like what would it be like? Like you would be like, stop, drop, and give me 20, or like, well, how did it look?
Well. So normally I have like a daily practice I do every day, and I have been doing that for many years. I like that as like my unbroken chain. That's my baseline. I have to just do that. And then when I have more time, so like yesterday, I carved out. I mean, you might go on retreat and then you're doing lots of days of it, but yesterday it was just a home retreat, which is just it's sessions throughout the day. I have my mat set up over here, and I just sit down and meditate with it a bit. Then I was listening to some teachings, walking around, I've eaten well. So just went out throughout the day. So the more you do it, I think if you do it in little short bursts as well, that could be really good. sometimes I think if people jump in and they do like half an hour, it's too much. And so maybe start with 5 minutes. Like doing stand up. You start with the 5.
Yeah.
And the more, if you just do that throughout the day. One thing that was, you notice is you randomly just feel good. You start to feel good for no reason because you're just quieting down a bit and you're not rushing, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
And then I watched that documentary I was telling you about with Leonard Cohen narrating, Tibetan Book of the Dead. And there was this old man in it, in Tibet. And I was with my housemate, Steph the vampire. And he said, imagine being that old guy, like dedicating your whole life to this, like practice. And he kind of looked like a crazy old man, right? And it was like, and I thought, yeah, I don't really want to be that crazy old man. I want to, but then I thought, well, what am I dedicating my life to? And a lot of the time I'm dedicating my time to things that are not good for me, like, praise or not getting blamed for stuff or like getting this and that. So maybe it isn't so bad to dedicate your time to other things. That was my thought yesterday anyway.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good way that you just said, like dedicating time to avoiding blame.
Yeah.
When you said that, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have dedicated time to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to, like, I catch myself. I think that as a meditation technique, I recommend having children as a reflection technique. You can see really easily how you're it's because you really want to do a good job for them. It's sometimes easier to catch yourself, and also so painful to catch myself like avoiding blame, like things that I'm like trying. Well, what I've noticed lately is like that the compassion that I can have, I have naturally for other people is like different for my children, because I do see them as like, no matter how hard I have tried so far to not see them as like an extension of myself. Like, so anything I see that I think that they have done wrong, I feel personally responsible for, and I can have a response like the way that I am to myself about like having done something wrong, where I would never have that response to like the annoyance I will feel like at my teenage daughter for like something. I would never feel that annoyance to someone else but I feel like I've done it and I'm mean to myself.
Right.
So I have to like reevaluate. Anyway, it's helping with this whole like evaluating. Like, I feel such shame and guilt around that, and I also like, it's the only thing I can do to improve it is to try not to feel shameful and guilty, because that will improve the way that I like deal with myself and my children. Like, anyway, it's quite a cycle. But when you said the words avoiding blame as a way to spend time, I was like, God damn, never heard it like that before, but I like it.
Yeah, that's from called the 8 worldly concerns, and you have like pleasure, pain, gain, loss, fame, and infamy, and then praise and blame. And so you're blown around by these winds, and this is what you're putting your energy into. So I guess going to a Quaker meeting or taking 5 minutes here or there is just cultivating putting your energy, spending that moment doing something different that maybe isn't. You're a bit more steady. You're not being chucked around by these winds.
Yeah. It has also a thing that I've read, I think Pema Chodron has said this also, but like a thing that has been helpful for me in my trying to meditate and trying to do anything better or more is that it's like the practice is returning to it, not like doing it perfectly the whole time. Yeah, that feels encouraging.
Yeah,
because I do have to be returning to it a lot of times when I'm trying to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like brushing teeth, and also built into even how we say that sometimes, like I'm trying to do better or I'm trying to do that. Nothing wrong with trying to transform yourself, but there's a dualistic kind of tendency even in the language we use, which is like I am not good enough now. And I think returning to yourself is becoming okay with what you are, and then from that, hopefully, you then won't act as destructively. So
well, I think what I mean when I say return to it is not like brushing your teeth, like, because like I don't ever forget I'm brushing. I've never brushed my teeth.
Oh right, yeah.
It's not like that because I don't do that, but like I don't forget what I'm doing when I brush my teeth. But like when I meditate, I do. Like my mind wanders. Yeah. Like that. The practice is returning to your breath, or like returning to like whatever, like acknowledging and then going back, rather than being like mad or annoyed that you wandered off again.
Yeah.
And that's the practice has helped me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that was something that really helped me too. I had a meditation teacher once say, because I was being like, oh, I must be following my breath, and I'd sort of be I need to quiet my mind and like trying to force it in certain ways. And he would just say, when you, like you said, when you suddenly become aware, you go, oh look, I'm aware again. Great.
Yeah.
There we go. Now return to breath. And that little change helped a lot, rather than being like, I must be following my breath. It's like, oh great, I'm aware. Oh great, I'm aware. I don't know where I went, or not I, but I don't know where awareness went then. But oh look, here I am. Here it is.
Nice.
That was helpful.
That's nice.
I wanted to.
Yeah, and
sorry.
I haven't thought about that for a while, but the one I just read was Taking the Leap. But before, I've read a bunch of times the first half of, at least, and the whole thing at least once, of When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. And I just remembered that she had someone in one of her classes who was from Texas, and he like did a thing to remind himself, and he was like, oh, hey there, cowboy, go back oh, there you are, cowboy, or something. And that she said in that book that's how she talks to herself when she when she like realizes. That's funny. I hadn't thought about that for a while. Maybe I'll try that again.
Yeah.
Talk to myself like a cowboy.
Yeah. Something I wanted to talk to you about. I didn't know this. I was looking on your website, and you did you got a BA, didn't you, in Humour and Change?
Humour and Social Change.
Humour and Social Change.
Name of my degree.
I'm interested in that.
That's funny. I'm interested in what it says on my website.
Right.
I do have it. I have a. Okay. I did actually. Okay. So the school I went to is called the Friends World Program of Long Island University, and it was originally a Quaker program, which I've been thinking about a lot lately. It was when I went there, they like kind of talked about Quakerism a little bit. We went to a Quaker meeting in Panama, but it wasn't like it was just the idea of it was like peace and equality was the main tenets, and that is Quaker as hell. And you studied abroad every semester, and you built your own curriculum. So you like had an advisor, and you decided like what you were studying, and you built a plan with them, and you did it. And so I studied like independently I was like in Costa Rica, Vietnam, New Zealand, and then like went on little trips from those places, and then I went back to New York and finished my degree. And during that time I had an advisor who like I would propose a syllabus to, and then I would like write a book essentially at the end of each semester and submit it. And then it was, for me, it was around humor and social change. And I did not do any comedy performing. I was not performing at that time, but I drew like cartoons, and I wrote essays, and I worked for the New Zealand Health Sponsorship Council because they had like a anti-smoking graffiti campaign like that I like helped do there. And I started I interned at a school that was like based in play, and I was like focused on like how play and how like play and free choice like impacted young people, and that's what I studied. And then my thesis was on like young people and play and freedom in schools. And yeah, and it was just like a bunch of funny stuff that I really thought I was just like naming it based on like what I had done, and it's very funny. That's my job now. I feel like it's wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I interned at this school, and I wrote my thesis on like, yeah, it was like the freedom to choose and the right to play, democratic education in America, something like that. And then, and then I worked at that school afterwards, and I ran a summer camp at that school, and yeah, I really went all in with that school in the end.
How do you feel now about those studies and everything that's happening now in the world? And do you think that do we need that? Do we need more humor?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Interesting. I mean, I think we need more. The school I worked at was like the only required curriculum was social justice curriculum, and then the rest was like really like kind of like my college program was like you worked with kids to like figure out what they wanted to do, and for some kids that was amazing, and for some kids that was hard, but they were having a hard time in regular schools too, and so it wasn't perfect. But I do think like the idea behind that school that like young people should be respected and like and that play is important, and that they should be taught primarily how to like speak respectfully and consider other people and themselves in a community is really, yeah, I think we'd benefit a lot from that kind of thing. And in terms of like humor and social change, I think that humor can be a component of like changing the way people think about things, but I think like the key thing sort of has to be like open-heartedness, because like I think there's tons of humor on like the left, also like my political side, which is
fascist.
that it
No.
it's fascist.
Yeah.
But like true, but yeah, that doesn't connect with anybody or change anything. It just like confirms what some people think and is mean to the people they disagree with, and I don't think that is helpful or useful or interesting, frankly. So I think that humor can play a really great part in social change because it can like illuminate things, but I think like if it's not done compassionately and like then I don't think there's a point, and I don't think it helps. I don't think like it helps to make only jokes about like how nasty you think people who don't agree with you are. I think it's fine to point out the truth with them. I think that's good, but I think like it's a more useful tactic if you're actually trying to change minds, if you use it like in an inviting way. Like if people are like, if everybody is allowed to laugh at the things you're saying, if you're thinking about it like that, then it can be really uniting. But I don't think that's always the way it's used.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of anger, isn't there, in politics sometimes, and you know,
I would say so.
Just a tiny bit. But there's reasons for that. But yes, I like what you said. Again, I'm thinking about the empty rowboat in that.
Yeah. I love the empty rowboat. Every rowboat is empty.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna stick with me. But I think that's also what made me think of that pistachio thing, because like what I feel like actually cracking the pistachio open on like any conflict and any like problem in your life is realizing the rowboat is empty. Yeah. I feel like that's like actually what it is. It's like when I think about like what it is, it's like being able to like crack yourself open to it and like kind of submit to whatever is there, and it's usually like an empty rowboat. I don't know, I really like that very much. Sorry, but yeah, what were you saying about that in politics and angry people?
Well, so anger, we think, we blame, like with children, isn't it? We say like we blame the behavior, not the person, not the child. And same with like destructive beliefs or things. We need to stop it. But like I think the empty robot could be useful because it just shows us that maybe to loosen up our narratives around stuff, they're not as rigid as we think, and that the empty rowboat is showing us that like, you know, like when someone's angry, it's like having a stick and hitting someone with the stick, and then we don't get angry at the stick. We say, well, that was the person who hit them. But the Buddhist understanding is that the person, and this is not to say that people are not accountable at all, but it's to say that they're made up of their causes and conditions and their unhelpful emotions sometimes. So it was the unhelpful emotion is the driving force behind this destructive behavior. So we can call that out, you know, and we can have compassion actually for those people who are doing bad stuff in the world, because they are suffering themselves and they're causing even more suffering for other people.
Yeah.
And I think you can approach stuff in that way as well. Like that's what you're talking about, that open-hearted kind of response. It's not to become passive though, I don't think, and to be like, hey, it's cool. It's the, you know, compassion. Sometimes you need to be like, no, and a boundary and put that in.
Yeah, I think too, like when I say open-hearted, like I really mean that. Like I really think that's like the only kind of stuff I want to make, but also I think you can be really funny and really also sharp in that too. Like I feel like yeah, it's much more interesting for me to try to make something that everybody is like that allows the possibility for anybody to like join that interaction, or like to understand that thing and like see what I'm trying to say, that it is for me to make something for half of the people, and to do that, to make something where everyone is allowed to partake in it and understand it and be part of it. It is a different exercise than to just make it for the people who already agree with me. And I think it's more, I just think it's more interesting. Also, I really like people. I really like people. I really like the people in front of me. And I have been tired during this time where we have made it so that you are only allowed to like the people in front of you if they think all of the right things and say all of the right things. Which, I mean, it's also hard because there are a lot of people doing really wrong things right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's like, but I am feeling like hopeful about a shift in there where we can like be like, right, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, the empty rowboat actually is a bathtub, and there's a baby. I don't know. I do think like, yes, humor, absolutely. I mean, like anything else, it can be like a tool that is like unite. Laughing with people is like, when you are laughing with people, you feel like so incredibly united with them. Yeah. I think like to use it that way is incredible, and I think it's a lot easier to not to use it that way, to only use it to be smug. And I don't know, I can be smug. Let me say
yeah.
I can be smug, and I have been smug, and I will be smug again. Yeah. But I do think like it's better. I do a better job when I'm trying to do something else with it, when I'm trying to like be connected to the people who are there instead of above them or whatever.
I think there's room. My opinion is I think there's room for both in a sense. So, you know, you sometimes we need that person holding power to account and taking it down a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But also we can have play and social change doesn't necessarily just mean that we are always critiquing things. It can be we're building stuff as well together.
Yeah. And hopefully actually that's a lot better. I think that is, I've been thinking lately about a game that I learned about from a camp. What? Am I going to be able to remember the name of this camp right now? Well, Pippi Kessler is the name of a counselor I learned it from. Yeah. And she also is like a jobs coach and just like an incredible person, and you can find her on the internet if you would like to hear about her. But she had an exercise she would do with young people at the camp where she ran, and it was called Another World is Possible. And it was just like you played this game and you had a big a giant piece of paper, and you would just sit with young people and you'd be like, another world is possible.
Yeah.
And then they would just say what is possible in the other world. And like that thing is, I've been thinking about it a lot, about the next show I want to make too. It's just like, that's the feeling that I want to have. Not like what is wrong, what is wrong, what is wrong. Another world is possible. Another world is possible where like ice cream trucks, like there's an ice cream truck on every block, like little tiny things, like whatever. Another world is possible where everybody has healthcare in the whole world.
Yeah.
That's possible. And like I hope there is, I think like the more we can shift toward that kind of thinking, like that's going to be good. It has been so defensive for a long time. And out of necessity also. We got to also continue to defend. But also it's not inspiring. That's not inspiring to point out everything that's wrong with the other side. Although we must know and we must do it. We also have to like try to imagine that another world is possible, and what would that be? Otherwise, what the hell are you doing it for?
I agree. I think for so long there's been quite a hopeless, nihilistic narrative, which actually basically serves people in positions of power to maintain what they have, actually. And I think, I remember the last election, we had some people around for dinner who were American, and they were upset, obviously, about Trump getting back into power. And I remember thinking that obviously it's negative, but there also, the last time he was in power, we had Black Lives Matter, we had the Me Too movement, we had lots of different things arise. And this time, what's happening in Minnesota, and lots of positive stuff of people coming together. In the UK, the Green Party, the whole thing is about hope at the moment and stuff like that. So I think there's a space for it, and I think I completely agree with you, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
It feels like it felt like that with Mamdani getting elected in New York too. It felt like another world is possible. I was like, look, another world is possible. And he's like running on this thing that like, I mean, I live in Denmark and I'm American. So for me, like, I've had to like shut up in group chats because I'm basically like, another world is possible. Another world is like where I live right now. When my friends are like going back to work when their babies are 2 weeks old, like I'm just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like that shouldn't be the way it is. They don't have health insurance for their families. I didn't have health insurance for my family when I lived there. Like, and now, like, living in a place where it is not perfect, there are plenty of things that I could point out that are wrong with Denmark, and I do. But like the level of my like basic needs being met and the basic needs of everyone around me, like the way that you are, if you are riding on a bus and everybody on that bus has healthcare, so if the bus crashes, no one is worried about going to the doctor, like that feels like a different bus to be on. Everything feels different from the smallest interaction here. Right. Everyone can go to university here if they want to and work at it. Like it is paid for and you get paid to do it. Like it is like everyone's child can go to daycare and is encouraged to go to daycare, and it is free or very cheap for you, like depending on how much money you make. Like my kid is right now getting braces on her teeth and I won't have to pay for her dental care until she's 25. I could not have had the life that I live if I had stayed in America. And this is just because these people have like a set of rules that they know are possible. Yeah. And it's like America, the United States of America is the richest country in the history of the world. It is also possible there. But the only reason I really know that and can get my head around it is because I live in a place where they've made different choices. Yeah. And so like often when I talk to my American friends, like even if in general, my friends are very liberal and want this kind of thing. But like the way that it's just like in my bones that I know that you can have it, like the way that is like, it is different now. And I didn't have that before. I was like, wouldn't it be nice? Yeah. But now I'm just like, I can't believe that everyone doesn't have this in the world when they could. Yeah. And in the whole world they could. And I'm just like, it's just a series of decisions of that rich people have made and people in power have made, and that the rest of us don't know.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the shame of it, isn't it? That's the tragedy, that the imagination's been limited so much that these things that you're saying you're experiencing and you know is possible is like, what are you on about, to someone who's like, that's not realistic. And
yeah, and it's just annoying. Like, imagine them like trying to like be like trying to figure out how to go back and like pump 5 times a day, which I also did, by the way. I went back when my kid was 4 weeks old to work, and like so I did this, and I like, we didn't have help. We had like the New York State public healthcare for her. Yul and I didn't have real healthcare. Like, I like lived this life, and now I'm like, I am so like, I'm just like, that it should be illegal is what I tell them.
yeah.
Unless I tell myself to shut up. I'm like, they're like, how am I going to do this? And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have to do it. It should be illegal. They're like, shut up.
Yeah. It's difficult.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to say as well, before we go, is I know that you're a big fan of morning pages, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that in the past. I've done it for periods of several months at a time. I think it's really useful. How long have you been doing it, morning pages?
I'm right next to my pile of
oh, really?
Yeah, behind this blue curtain.
Yeah.
Is like, I can take you. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every day I've been doing it since the beginning of 2021. Every day, except for like, you know, I have sometimes on the weekend I'll miss one, and I'll get up with my like kids and get into the day with them, and I'll be like, that's fine. But
yeah,
really almost every day. Like, I didn't do it one day this weekend, and that was rare. And that's been since like January 2021. Before that, my mom did like part of the artist way when I was like in junior high or something, and she has always done morning pages. And then I always was aware of it as kind of like a crisis management thing. So I would do it in my 20s, like when there was like a disaster, and I would be like, when something was like really hard, when I was like a teacher at that school, like if I had to figure out something, I would like wake up early and I would do it, but only like when I really I didn't know how to figure out what I thought. But since I've been doing it every day for 5 years now, I mean, like I have to reevaluate how I do them still. And right now I'm at a point of that too, where I feel like I thought about this, like my morning pages right now are only like top of the mind annoyances, like the Quakers shuffling and looking at me in the room.
Yeah.
And I get the most out of them when they are either rats behind the wall or cats in the next room.
Yeah.
When it's like, or like the sky. So like when I'm just like making observations, I can like offload a bunch of stuff that way and like figure out what's going to happen in my day. It's like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. It's like a long 3-page to-do list. Mm-hmm. But when I like can access, when I can like allow myself to look at in my morning pages, which are just like 3 pages of like non-stop like free writing. Yeah. But I do need to direct my mind with what I'm going to do with that. Otherwise, it will just become the same thing for a long time. And now I've kind of been doing that long enough where I like know I'm going to get the most out of it if I'm like really try to look at what's really bugging me, or I really try to think about a concept, which is a cat in the next room. And then, or like really look at like the dark things that I'm scared of, which are the rats in the wall. Yeah. And then, so like, right. So I'm doing that every day. And then I write a page of, for the last 2 years, I've been writing a page of lists at the end that are like things I'm grateful for, things I did right. That's a really good one for me. And that actually, I think, has made the biggest difference for me. And then what I want, which could be anything from an ice cream truck on every block, or like a snack when I'm done, or like to finish a book, finish writing a book, like some big things, little things. And then what next, which is so it doesn't become the whole thing.
Yeah.
I usually like write a little list at the end, but I'm in the process of changing it up right now because it has become very like, I'm trying to push myself to like use them more like proactively at the moment. And when you first get into them, I think it is really important to just be like, whatever comes out, even if it's just like you repeating over and over again, like, I don't want to do this, whatever. But I feel like now I know I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to be spending that time. I look forward to it. It's like one of my favorite things I do every day.
Great.
So like I can choose more like what I use my mind on, like how I use my mind during that time, I think, and I should. But yeah, I think that although I don't have a regular practice of like sitting quiet meditation, that the fact that I know I'm going to spend 30 to 35 minutes alone with my thoughts every day has been really like, I think it's the only time I know I'm going to really say what I think, because almost every time I talk to somebody else, I'm like adjusting. And I'm thinking about how they're hearing it, and I'm trying to like, you know, and I'm like, I want them to be having a good experience, except for you. I just want you. But when I'm writing them, I'm like, oh, like this is, so sometimes I'll be writing something and I'll be like, oh no, that's what I think. Like I'll just like, I'm like, oh God.
It seems to be a theme that you're often resistant to what comes up. You're like, oh my goodness.
Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes I'm thrilled. Sometimes I'm like, oh my, what? Yeah. Incredible. But a lot of the time, if I'll find out I have a negative thought in morning pages, because I'll just like push it down.
Yeah.
Or like look away. And then I'll be like, oh, God damn it. I don't like that person, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an inconvenient, because I like to like everybody.
Yeah. Sounds helpful.
It's pretty helpful. I really recommend it. Also, because it feels like it's like a moving meditation. There's like a thing I can do. I feel sometimes like I can only keep my thinking if I write it in morning pages, kind of. Like when I walk the dog, I also have good ideas, and like I don't bring my phone, and I like have to do that a few times a day, and I have good thinking, but it just kind of flits away, and that's good, nice, great. That's the way brains work. But if I want to hang on to something, I write it in my morning pages. I put a little line next to it. I'm like, it feels like it's an artifact in a way.
Yeah. So you'll line it. Do you go back then and look through often?
Only when I know there's something that I put a line on, like, what was that? You can read them, and I have thought recently of dabbling in that. At first, I was way too scared to read them. I was like, I don't want to hear. I already thought these things once. But I did write, like, some of my first jokes were things that I just wrote in my morning pages and then, like, put a line next to. And sometimes, like, real writing will come out.
Yeah.
But that can't be the goal for me. Yeah,
because that's too much pressure, right? And then you won't be real. And
yeah. Although if I, like, talk myself into it, sometimes I'll do this thing that Ayla Tier is a filmmaker and a filmmaking teacher, and she says this thing that I do sometimes, which is like basically do morning pages like blah 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 blah, like about what you're supposed to write. And this is how I wrote the essay in my show too. I'd be like, I can't do this right now because I'm obviously very stupid and I ate a little bit of mushrooms, so I can't do anything like important now. But when I can do something important, I will be in, like, what I'll say is this, and I'll say that there's rats in the wall. Like, I don't know, like, then you can start to play with it a little bit, and then you can do it for real for like as long as it comes, and then you can just like revert right back to like blah blah blah. It's like a safety. It's like peeking from behind the pillow. I feel like it's like, I'm not really doing this. I'm not really gonna watch this movie because that's scary, and then I would never. And then you like can hide behind it, but then you can look around.
It's a nice framing device.
Yeah, I like it.
So I have to go to the GP now.
Thank God.
Because I got
You
worms.
look ill.
I got worms. No, I need to. I do actually need to go. Having a problem with my ears, but
you have big
I've got big ears.
on them.
Oh right. Your ears are huge. You need to.
Your ears are huge.
You need to go to hospital immediately.
Yeah, please.
I just wanted to reflect something to you. I guess we were talking about some stuff. I don't know if this is a question, but this was something that I was thinking about you before, and especially thinking about now after talking to you for the last couple of hours or so. Thich Nhat Hanh, the way he talks about interdependence, he calls it interpenetration.
Oh. Oh no.
That's not the end of what I'm saying.
Oh
right?
my God. And I just wanted you to know. What he calls is interpenetration.
But like he describes he says the cloud is in the ice cream. So when you eat an ice cream, you think, where did that came from? The dairy from the cow, and then the cow needed, the sunlight, and then it needed rain for it to exist. So then the cloud. So he sees how everything interpenetrates each other, and he says interbeing, right? And I guess talking to you and seeing that you've got all these different practices, and it feels like even your show is very much like, how can I show all these different sides of me? You literally had 17 shows, and it feels like you're as I said, I don't think this is a question, it's just a reflection. I don't know, but yeah, it feels like you are embodying that kind of interpenetration in your work, though. You know what I mean? It feels like there's less of a boundary. Like it all kind of seems to become one thing, in a sense.
Nice. I hope so. I think when I'm doing it right, it feels like that. Like it feels like a bunch of different things are all on the same side. That feels good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be thinking about penetration a lot about it right now.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Thanks, Mark.
No problem. Thanks so much for doing this.
I love doing this.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it's the last time we'll ever do it.
When are you back in England?
I don't know, actually. I think I'll be at the Fringe for a little bit. I think
Okay,
I'm gonna do
cool.
a work in progress there.
I'll see you there.
But I listen. If everybody's listening from Australia, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be in Australia.
We do
from
have
March
some
25th
Australian
to
listeners.
April 19th.
Sorry, I spoke over that. March
25th to April 19th. I'm gonna be at
Okay.
the Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Oh, nice. I'll put this
All
out
you
for.
people from Australia, in case you're gonna be there, Mark, I'll know how to avoid you.
That's it for this week's podcast. Thank you so much to Abby. You can go to their website, abbywambaugh.com, for details about upcoming shows, especially Melbourne Festival in March if you live in Australia. And I highly recommend you go see their show. I'm serious. I also have another recommendation. My partner Zoe Brownstone's special is out on YouTube now. It's called Pride and Premises. Go check that out, please. It's very good. Little cameo by yours truly. And before I go as well, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of those who've taken the time to send me messages or leave nice reviews. It really does mean a lot. I really appreciate it. If you can, please do subscribe, review and share if you're enjoying the show. It's very helpful to get this thing out there in the early days. And also you can support the show financially on Patreon, which helps me to keep making things like this. We will see you next time in the in-between. Have a good one.